Men and women, people who've given their life for our country.
This is USA Radio News.
February is Black History Month, and what better way to celebrate than through the sounds of music? Opening summer 2020 in Nashville, the National Museum of African American Music will feature more than 50 musical genres created and inspired by African Americans. Museum President and CEO H. Beecher Hicks III.
We are proud to be a first-of-its-kind museum dedicated to celebrating the role African Americans play in shaping the American soundtrack. When you step inside the museum, you'll be instantly immersed into what I like to call 56,000 square feet of funk. We have 7 galleries filled with more than 1,500 artifacts from some of your favorite artists, from gospel and hip-hop to country and classical. You'll be able to trace generations of untold Black history within our walls. We are one nation under a groove, uniting all people through a shared history. And we are excited to welcome everyone to Nashville, America's Music City.
For more on the National Museum of African American Music, visit blackmusicmuseum.org.
A monthly report on U.S. job creation comes in strong. USA Radio Network's Chris Barnes reports.
The ADP Private Payroll Jobs Report shows creation of jobs had its best month in January since May of 2015. The report says 291,000 private sector jobs were created, up from 199,000 jobs created in December. The government's jobs report, with a look at the nation's unemployment rate, is due out on Friday. For USA Radio News, I'm Chris Barnes.
A report that the coronavirus could be spread by people before they show symptoms could have been flawed. Public health officials in China say a report in the New England Journal of Medicine appeared to support the idea that someone could transmit the deadly virus without having any signs of the illness. But now more interviews with people in Germany revealed that the woman may have had some mild symptoms after all. Oil prices continue to rise because of the virus in China. And you're listening to USA Radio News.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-215-5141. 800-215-5141. That's 800-215-5141.
GM is issuing a second recall over brake failure issues. With more on the story, here's USA Radio Network's Wendy King.
General Motors has updated a December recall for the 2019 Chevy Silverados, GMC Sierras, and some Cadillac CT6s since the fix in the initial recall caused a brake failure problem. GM initially recalled the 2019 model vehicles in December to fix a software error that was found in the electronic brake controls that could cause the vehicle's anti-lock brake systems to shut off. GM said the software update used for the last recall disrupts the electronic brake control module when the consumer starts the vehicle using the OnStar app. The new repair involves having dealers re-flash the vehicle's electronic brake control module with a new calibration that resolves both the issues. A stop sale order was placed on all vehicles until dealers fix them.
Cook County, Illinois State's Attorney Kim Foxx is admitting that her office made mistakes in the Jussie Smollett case. Appearing with her Democratic primary opponents before the Sun-Times editorial board on Wednesday, Foxx says that her office wasn't perfect with handling the Smollett case. Foxx faced national scrutiny after her office dropped charges against Smollett, who staged a hate crime against himself in Chicago last year and blamed President Trump supporters. For USA Radio News, I'm Tim Berg.
The following is an America Matters media production. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the station or its advertisers, although we think they should. But that's the opinion of America Matters Media.
Taking Good morning, friends. What a great day we have here in Reno today. Christian and I are excited to bring you some things to think about when you're choosing a location for your business. Christian and I will be discussing this topic for both brick and mortar and advantages of online location presence. I want you to think about something. How many times have you drove down the street and you've seen a business and it's in a great location, but it just seems to keep flipping over and over and over what it is, who's in there now. Some things, why is that happening? If it's got a great location and this keeps happening, that's something to think about. Maybe it's the entrance into it or something. But we have all heard the saying, location, location, location. But does it really matter? I've had some difficult locations, and we'll discuss that later in the show. But prime location, customer traffic, the convenience, shipping and receiving, and zoning will be discussed. And later in the broadcast, we're going to bring up business image and talk about that. That's important. Your competition, what's your competition going to be around that location? Your goals for growth for now and tomorrow. And we're going to be rating the safety and perception of the location and not really going too much into laws and regulations, but just bringing your attention to that because in different zonings, different laws and regulations apply.
Definitely things you have to keep in mind.
Yeah, and depending on the types of businesses too, if you have chemicals or not chemicals and things like that. So you have to know where you can operate your business. And I want to give out a few mentions. Jake Jimrick out there in Indiana needs a kidney desperately. He's on the Minnesota and Indiana kidney donor list. If you're interested in helping him in any way or want to know about being a donor, please contact me at Anita at americamatters.us. And thanks to all of those who aid in our airtime, Christian.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our listeners, and we really appreciate their love and support and reaching out after every show to give me some feedback, and just love your conversation. So keep them coming. And I need to give Joel Durton at Lockwood Gun Training a shout out here. He had texted me on Friday night, asked me if I wanted to go shoot my new firearm that I got, and I hadn't had a bullet through it yet, so I was really excited to go out and test it out. So he took me out, and we had a great time, and he was really surprised at my shooting ability. Hit the target pretty good, did a real good job. Found out that there's shooting competitions, so
there sure are, yeah.
He brought that up for me, so maybe I'll pursue that and look into that. It's always good to be a good shot, Christian.
Yeah, I saw some of your Facebook videos and pictures, and it just looked like you guys had a good time out there.
Yeah, he goes, you shot those one-handed, Anita. But I did have a great time. I ran into some wild horses out there and had to shoot some images of them.
Images. Shoot images.
Shoot images, not shoot the wild horses. No, I would never do that.
They are protected.
But I stopped and took some pictures. I'll be back out that way and get some more of those pictures because it's so majestic.
It really is, yeah.
I saw them drinking out of the river, but I couldn't stop and take a picture, and it was the perfect picture, the one that you would see on a wall somewhere. But I have it visually now, so
there you go.
Maybe I could draw it someday or something. But I just want to let you know we do have all of our guest links and things like that you can find out more about them at afdesigns.online/links. And Christian, what we got going on in Rough Riders?
Yeah, so in the world of Rough Riders, we are constantly transporting dogs. Every week there's another 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 dogs that we're transporting from the rural shelters. So Battle Mountain, Winnemucca, Tonopah, bringing them up here, giving them a second chance at life. And we've got a couple dogs that we're still looking for the right homes for. Now, we've had some people reach out since we made the mention that both these dogs, their adoption fees are now going to be covered. Mm-hmm. And hopefully we just find the right home. So we're setting up some meet and greets. And those dogs are Bubba, who joined us about a month ago.
Yeah, he's such a sweet boy.
He is a sweet boy. And he was with Brittany from our training partner at Inline Canine Academy. And Bubba is a pity mix that, unfortunately has gone through a lot of things, but needs a dedicated owner who doesn't have another animal in the house, no small children, and can really spend the time giving him the attention he deserves. The other one is Mickey, and Mickey does well with other dogs his size. Probably no small children to start out with. We just want to give him the best chance possible. And he is a pity, I want to say, corgi mix. He's got sort of that low slung look to him. Very sweet boy. And you can find out more information about either of them at roughriders.org/unadoptables. And then finally, we are raising money for our van transport fleet, looking to raise $75,000 for 2 commercial vans that are upfitted so that way we can move more dogs at any given time. And we have the generous support of Tito's Handmade Vodka that they're going to match dollar for dollar the next $10,000 we raise. And we've reached about half of that so far, and we definitely want to get that second half, and then hopefully by the end of 2020 reach our total goal of $75,000.
I think it's going to happen, Christian. This is our year. We're going to be, all of our organizations here at America Matters are going to be growing. We've added a lot of fun things to the website, so you can go to americamatters.us and you can watch can you watch the video from there too?
You sure can, yeah.
So you got your video, you got your podcast, you can listen live, you can do all those things from one website, or you can visit afdesigns.online to see what I got going on. I do also do that there. And we're going to get ready to go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Hi, this is Eddie Floyd. Let me tell you about my favorite non-profit public charity, Wainema Wild Horse Sanctuary, located on the Forsyth Ranch in Hallelujah Junction area. And please go to www.wainemaranch.com. That's WYNEMA ranch.com.
Rich is just a really, really, really good guy. The term good egg isn't enough to describe him. He's also certified organic and free range. Rich puts the cap back on everything. The toothpaste, the olive oil, the shampoo, everything. He lets his 10-year-old nephew beat him at virtual tennis, even though he can straight up slay his 10-year-old nephew in virtual tennis. When the toilet paper is running low, Rich replaces the roll on the actual holder, not just on the back of the toilet. Rich is texting and driving. Rich, no. What are you doing, Rich? I was just telling everyone how great you are. Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
The Assistance League Thrift Shop at 1701 Vassar in Reno supports programs for children, seniors, veterans, and sexual assault victims. This nonprofit thrift shop sells clothing, housewares, small appliances, and furnishings, all donated by members of our community. Their all-volunteer membership is on hand from 10 to 4, Monday through Saturday. Check their website at www.renosparks.assistanceleague.org. Help your community by shopping, donating, or joining Assistance League.
This is Oliver X. Join me and the superstar Janez Carter weekday mornings from 8 to 9 on the Reno Todd Tonight Show on America Matters Media.
Welcome back, radio friends. It is another beautiful Wednesday morning.
Yes, it is.
Here at Business Connections with Anita, which airs every Wednesday at 10 a.m. here on 1180 AM KCKQ, America Matters Media. Now, keep in mind that you can check out a rebroadcast or the podcast of this anywhere you get podcasts. Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, about a dozen others. Or you can just head over to americamatters.us/podcasts and scroll down to Business Connections with Anita.
You know, Christian, we're only about 10 people away from hitting the like button on Business Connections with Anita on Facebook to reach our 2,000 likes. And we're excited about that, and we can't thank our listeners enough for sharing you with your friends and family. And today we're going to be discussing business location. And is location really that important? I've owned a couple businesses that were not in the best location. Actually, one here in Reno and one in Indiana. That's why I thought I'd share my experiences with you, because I did make it work. Mm-hmm. You can make it work in a bad location, but it does cost you a little more.
Yeah. I mean, there's more awareness, more marketing and advertising that goes into
Specifics, time on the phone, directions. You know, there's a lot of things that go into play with a harder location.
Exactly.
Now, Christian, how do you feel about prime locations?
Well, the thing about prime locations is you're going to pay a little bit more for a prime location. So, you're driving down the street and the big billboards are right there at the corner. They're great if you can afford it. But you don't always have that ability.
I was thinking about this last night before I fell asleep, speaking of billboards. I don't think I've ever purchased anything off of an advertisement off of a billboard.
It's funny. Billboards have their good side and their bad side. Billboards are about branding. So you're not going to get any real return on investment that you know of from a billboard.
Just getting your name in front of the folks.
Exactly. It's getting as many eyeballs out there as possible. So, again, it's one of those things. If you can afford it, great. If not, it's probably not your best advertising route to go.
Yeah, and I know some of the buildings here in Reno can be pretty tricky. For instance, the one over here off of Kitsky where the cosmetology board is located. Mm-hmm. They have building G, it goes through the alphabet. Same thing with the senior services health department and all that. And it can get kind of confusing when you're down a hallway to the right and then to the left in a complex like that.
Yeah.
So, those are things to think about when you're thinking about a location for a business. So the visibility, do you think visibility is a factor?
It certainly is, but again, it depends on the type of business you're in. If you're in an office type business, visibility is a little bit tougher, but if you are able to get the word out there about landmarks, we are in the Home Depot shopping center. We are, across the street from this business. It makes it a little bit easier to give those landmarks as opposed to, say, the beige building up on the left and we're, on the second floor, 3 doors down to the right.
Yeah.
That makes it really tough.
Yeah, I go in to see my hairstylist and I have to count the room doors as I go by to make sure I'm getting the right one, because they all look the same once you get in those suites.
Yeah.
know?
But, it's one of those things that certain types of business, you can only afford certain areas. And so you got to do what you can to make the best of it, but know that you're at a slight disadvantage if you are tucked away somewhere like that.
Yeah, and some of these rents can run pretty high, just like our housing right now. Sometimes these bigger retail stores pay up to $30,000 a month for their retail space, especially around Legends, places like that.
Well, in retail, that's where foot traffic is a big thing.
Yes.
You have to think about, the number of people who are walking by at any given time and how your storefront appears to those who are stopping by.
Mm-hmm. And I think you should have a clear, something clear on your storefront that tells what you do. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people are driving by and like, oh, I want to stop in there someday and see what that is. Give them the information so they want to stop by.
Right. And even the type of retail plays into where you should be. A furniture store in the middle of Midtown, probably not the best idea because of deliveries, because of people trying to load things into their cars, whereas the little boutique stores are fantastic for that. And then vice versa, if you do have a furniture store or appliances or something like that, find a shopping center where there is plenty of parking.
Yeah, foot traffic can be vital for a business to have that constant flow. But I want to talk about conversion for a minute. You may have all the people in the world walking into your storefront, but are they purchasing?
Right.
That's the other thing. So, how you treat them once they get into the door, and converting that to a sale is important. So I want to bring that up.
Well, part of that has to do with where you're located.
True.
If you're in an outdoor mall area like Legends, you're going to get a lot of people in there who are just looky-loos,
right.
People who aren't necessarily
window
there to
shoppers.
Buy. Exactly, because they're on their way to the movies or a restaurant or something along those lines. So either give them a reason to buy or find a location that is more suited to the type of business that you deal with.
Now, I've owned some salons. Some people out there might know that. Back in Indiana, I owned a shop called Faces, Etc. I'd gone back to esthetician school, got that licensing, thought I was going to work for a plastic surgeon, but then the recession hit and everything kind of stopped in the Midwest. We were hit pretty hard. Elkhart, Indiana, President Obama visited there. It was a very hard-hit area. And I had a location that was down a hallway in a strip mall, but I was right behind a barber shop. So a lot of times you couldn't visibly see me from the street. Started my business in October. And so I had to wait until the summer when the new phone book came out. So, of course, you're anxious for that because you've been in business all this time. And at that time, everybody looked in the yellow pages under beauty, where to go,
exactly.
Right? So, unfortunately, the yellow pages put me under automotive dealers instead because my phone number used to be associated with something out of South Bend, Indiana.
And that's not something that they can change on the fly and re-release.
And they're not going to do it for one business.
Exactly.
So what happened is I had to get creative and think of another way to get my name out there. So I taught myself how to code and how to build a website. Because I was sitting there dying. I'm in a bad location. The phone book let me down, and now I have to find another avenue to get my business name out there. So that's what I did. Unfortunately, I couldn't pull through because of the recession, because of so many homes being lost and people's jobs being lost, and not having that flow of I guess, income that could afford those luxuries at that time.
And that's exactly it. It's a luxury that, unfortunately, those are the first things that people cut out when money is tight.
Oh, yeah. You're buying a house, you're going to have a baby, you're buying a new car, all those things. People say, oh, I got to save on my nails so they don't get nails done anymore. And that's kind of why I added the esthetician to my nail license, is to give a broader scope of my skill set.
Offer more products.
Services. But still couldn't hold on. So that's when I decided to go to college, and I got 3 degrees and ended with a master in education. And I'm looking forward this summer to teaching those kids robotics, Christian. It's coming up.
That's always fun.
But do you think certain businesses you visit because they're convenient? And we all know, our convenience stores. But I'll go way out of my way to go to a certain place because I just know the people. I feel more comfortable there. Do you agree with that?
I do. So in some cases, I do visit businesses because it's more convenient. You listed Rayleigh's here. That's one where they're just a 2-minute drive from where I'm at. But Rayleigh's prices are more expensive than if I went another 5, 6, 7 minutes down to Safeway or Cost Plus, or not Cost Plus, but Bargain Market.
Yes.
But the convenience behind it is that it's right there close to my home. So businesses in a residential area where you provide goods that people need on a daily basis, fantastic. But not necessary for a specialized business, a business that has something that, your business is a destination. People come to you for the good or service that you provide.
Yeah, you got to find your niche, I guess. Another thing to consider, I want to point out, is if you shop there because of the convenience of the location, sometimes the prices, like we discussed, can be more than usual. And why do you think that is, Christian? Is it because it costs more to deliver to that area, or is just the convenience of it and the retailers are taking advantage of that?
I think a little bit of both. It's one of those things that, we just happen to live by that Rayleigh's, and so we pay more because of that convenience. If we happen to live by the Safeway, we would use that. But at the same time, I was thinking about it when it comes to like delivery, DoorDash and Postmates, that, I'm paying extra for the convenience of somebody bringing that to me, and I'm happy to pay that.
So I guess it's up to you if you decide if it's worth the extra bucks or not.
Yeah.
Now we're winding down to another break, I believe. So be sure to stay with us. We have a lot more information coming on business locations that are going to help folks out there.
And this week, no keywords, so stay tuned the following week.
Yes, and we're going to also, JJ Reno Realtor, he's going to be answering some questions live on the air on the 12th. So I'll be posting a little something like that on Business Connections with Anita. You folks can leave your questions in the comments and we'll read those live on air. We have to take a short break for our sponsors, folks, but we'll be right back after these messages.
Call Sursic Dental because you're worth it. They can make your smile perfect. You're gonna love your new smile. Sursic Dental for a perfect smile.
Sursic Dental has a $125 special that includes a cleaning, x-rays, a free Sonicare toothbrush, and a free cosmetic makeover consultation.
Sursic Dental for a perfect
Call 827-1113.
Hello, I'm Omer Raines, author of the international best-selling book, Back to the Summit, How One Man Defied Death and Paralysis to Again Lead a Full Life of Service to Others. Now in its second edition, Back to the Summit has been reprinted in countries worldwide. All profits from the sale of this book go to support humanitarian causes of lasting importance. However, the principal reason for writing the book was to inspire others who, like me, have been faced with a major medical challenge. Back to the Summit is available in hardcover, paperback, or as an ebook. An audio edition is also available. Whatever the modality or format, it can easily be ordered on Amazon or from your favorite bookstore. Whether you read or listen to Back to the Summit, I hope that it will serve as an inspiration to you or to someone you know. Again, I'm Omer Raines. If you wish to learn more, my website is senorains.com. That's SENORAINS.com. Have a wonderful day.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
The all-volunteer nonprofit Assistance League, Reno Sparks, is working to improve lives in Washoe County. Annually, they provide new clothes and grooming essentials to over 3,000 children through Operation School Bell. Students in Transition addresses needs of homeless teens. Find out more by visiting their website, renosparks.assistanceleague.org. These activities are funded by Assistant League's Thrift Shop at 1701 Vassar Street, open 10 to 4 Monday through Saturday.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station, the power of radio since 1967.
Welcome back, radio friends. It is the third segment of Business Connections with Anita. I'm your co-host, Christian Meyer. Now, one of our great sponsors is JJ Reno Realtor. Be sure to check out, all the homes that are available in our area. If you're not buying, Jason, JJ, can help you out with the sale of your home, or as he did in Anita's case, before you're pre-approved, he was happy enough to go around, give you some ideas, and really work with you to get to that pre-approval point. Now, you can give him a call at 775-721-9975 or visit jjrenorealtor.com if you're interested. And then if you want to be a mentioned sponsor, reach out to Anita at americamatters.us, and we'll give get you going on helping to promote our show and give you some connections for some new potential customers.
Yes, we love to have people on here with us supporting us, and in turn we help grow their business with mentions.
Yeah, and the proof's in the pudding. We can't tell you how many people who have been on the show have reached back out and said thank you so much.
And want to come back on. We've had several returning guests, which tells me something's working.
Yeah.
And I love that. Folks, we've been bringing up some pretty informative insight that will help you in choosing the location of your business. This information has been mostly for brick and mortars up to this point. However, the presence and location online can also be just as valuable. What do you think, Christian? Do you think online location,
absolutely,
where you fall in the ranks, from placement of ads that you have on your website, different things go into play?
A lot of people go into the idea of building a website for their online business, and they put all of this effort into the front end, making it look pretty, making it easy to use, and all of that. But they forget to work on the back end of things, working on keywording and search engine optimization, and going into Google Webmaster Tools and setting up Google Places. And there's so many things that have to be done that are just as important on the back end as it is for the front end, just to be seen.
Yes, the reason that's important is because it gives you insights to where your traffic is coming from for your website. Which can tell you a lot about your customers' ages, the region that they're in, how much they spend with you. All kinds of things go into play on the back end of a website.
And that all goes well before you get into online marketing. That's just setting up the base. That's like if you are a brick and mortar store, just having a store, putting a sign on the door, and opening the door. That doesn't touch at all in the marketing, but is just as important. The other important thing is have a good URL.
Yes.
Have a good domain name. If it's too long, if it doesn't, capture the imagination, if it's too similar to something else, those can all be hindrances to an online store.
Yes, it can. I know Business Connections with Anita is a full mouthful and can be long to type in, but I hope folks do go over to that merchandise store and check it out. That's at businessconnectionswithanita.com if you're interested in doing that. Continually updating and connecting folks through your website can be vital to gather information about your customers. If you have subscriptions, I know I have I think I have 18 followers on my website. Most people follow me through Facebook. So that's where my traffic, it goes from Facebook to my website.
Right. And social media, and we'll get into that a little bit, a little bit
later on.
But social media is a great driver to the website, but you still have to have, a website that people can land on and will ultimately convert sales.
Yes, because we found out, we did a show a while back, and we learned that a lot of people shop online before they actually visit the store.
Yeah.
So it's vital to have a website. Where would you be without a website for Rough Riders?
Well, I mean, Rough Riders is our hub. You know, you tell people Rough Riders Dog Rescue, and that could mean a million different things.
Yes.
What this does is it tells people who we are, what we do, how we go about doing it.
How they can help.
How they can help, exactly that. And, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, Rough Riders, the name, you know, while it's a pun, a play on the word,
yes,
you know, and we are transport oriented, you know, some people think of the rapper DMX and his Rough Riders,
right.
Or, you know, Teddy Roosevelt and his Rough Riders. And so, you know, we have to utilize the website to set ourselves apart from the other similar names.
I found some of these things on the website allstartups.com. They gave good insight to business location and some other things that matter in choosing the right location. For instance, business image, competition, the growth, zoning, and the taxes that you'll pay.
Yeah, and all of that goes back to having a good business plan.
Yeah.
A good business plan will go through all of this, will let you know, is your business image right? Is there so much competition in your area? Is it even worth it? Or is there no competition and all of a sudden, you know, you're onto something that nobody else is doing? Growth, zoning, taxes, again, important things of running a business. Everybody wants to do the fun stuff, but you got to do the hard stuff as well.
Yep. And if you really don't like the hard stuff like accounting and all those things, you can always hire those things out that you know that are not your strengths. But you should always, in business, know how to do those things.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because you can lose that person or something else happens, and then where are you? But
Well,
you should always have your hand in all facets.
And it always goes back to the adage, inspect what you expect. So if you
Right.
are having somebody doing your accounting and taxes, you'll want to double check that to make sure that they're doing it right, even if you trust them. That way you don't get in trouble down the line.
Well, everybody makes mistakes, and even when we look it over to proofread it, still things can get lost in the mix. I wanted to talk about business image a little bit, Christian.
Yeah.
Can you give us some things to think about, to keep in mind with our business image?
Yeah, when it comes to brick and mortar, is your store clean and tidy? Does it look like a tornado went through? We had Lean from her feng shui.
Yes.
She does business feng shui. And, is there a natural path of people to move through your store? Are your products placed in an area where you want them to see them? First impressions go a long way. If somebody steps in the store and, it looks like that tornado hit, they're not going to want to spend a whole lot of time there.
Yeah, I don't want to shop off the floor.
Yeah.
Right?
And, unfortunately, some places look like that.
I know. It's horrible how people actually, it never used to be that way. But now it's gotten to where the customers are so disrespectful that the worker can't even keep up with this.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Does your branding tell the story of what you do? Does somebody walk into a store and have no clue what it is you're selling or what service you're providing? Or do they walk in immediately and understand what it is you do and have that instant impression? That goes a long way.
It does go a long way. Nice and clean. Keep it simple.
Yeah. Uniforms or no uniforms for employees. So one of the things that, when I'm talking sales or I'm talking retail or anything, you don't have to have an official uniform, but still have a dress code, have,
tag around your neck. A lot of people do that.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to necessarily be the cost of a uniform.
Right. I come in here every day. I interact with some people, but not a lot of people. But I always want to make sure that I look nice. I wear my, collared button-down shirt, nice jeans. I don't look like somebody's wandering in and, there's some homeless guy that's,
Like me today. Anyways, but I had to be here for my folks out there in the listening land. Just think about them all the time, Christian.
Yeah.
The storefronts we mentioned play a big role.
Yeah, again, it goes back to those first impressions. Do things look shoddy? If they do look shoddy, is that part of your brand identity? Otherwise, keep things clean. Keep your front porch swept. Keep crud out of people's way when they want to come in.
Is there railing where the steps are? I mean, a lot of these things go into the regulation area that you have to have. I know for salons, you have to make sure that you have a restroom, a dispensary area, hot and cold running water. There's a whole list of things. You can't have carpet in certain areas where they're cutting hair because it's just not clean.
Right.
So make sure that you know those rules and regulations on your business and if that space is going to work for you.
Yeah, and part of that goes back to zoning. It goes, is your potential business zoned in an area that accepts it, or are you trying to force a square peg in a round hole? And
now another thing I just thought of, Christian, real quick, is a lot of times different areas charge for parking lot upkeep and maintenance, your snow removal, throwing ice melt down in the winter, landscaping in the summer months. So those are things to, make sure that when you sit down to, pick a location, how is that kept? Is that their responsibility, your responsibility? 9 times out of 10, they throw the cost onto the business owner.
Well, and part of that goes to, if it's not included, is that something you necessarily want to do? Do you want to get there in the morning and worry about opening your shop and removing snow and putting ice melt down and keeping, the greenery looking fresh? Or do you just want to include that in your rent and make sure that they take care of that?
Yeah, because, that's a good point, because if you're running a business out of a little house or something, you might not have those prime location amenities, exactly. I guess you would call it, for that. I can't believe we're winding down to another break already, folks. We've been talking about business location, how much importance that is, and if you missed any part of this broadcast, you can go to americamatters.us and check out the podcast. Make sure you listen to us. We have really great information. We'll be back here in just a few seconds after our sponsors to give you some more final notes on our last segment. Christian, already. We'll be right back after these messages, folks. Thanks.
Have you, a friend, or family member been diagnosed with cancer? Dr. Forsyth at the Forsyth Cancer Care Center offers an all-inclusive program to treat adult types of cancer. The Forsyth Immune Protocol Cancer Treatment Plan, in a current prospective study of over 6.5 years and 1,200 adult cancer patients, has produced a remarkable 30 times greater survival statistic when compared to conventional full-dose chemotherapy. Greater than 95% of all their patients choose low-dose insulin-potentiated life chemotherapy, using only 10 to 15% chemotherapy dosing with insulin. Dr. Forsyth has long been considered one of the most respected physicians in the United States, particularly for his treatment of cancer and the legal use of human growth hormone. Located in Reno, Nevada, Dr. Forsyth has seen patients from all over the world. To schedule your consultation today, call 775-827-0707. That number again is 775-827-0707.
Virginia City is the source of all the richness in the West. While today it brings us a summer of fun with camel races, cook-offs, street vibrations, outhouse races, parades, and many more events, it's never dull on the Comstock. A taste of all this richness can be found at Virginia City Kettle Corn Depot. Our kettle corn is made fresh every day with no additives, just coconut oil, sea salt, and some pure cane sugar. We also offer fresh caramel corn and white cheddar, to which we can add jalapeno. This summer we are adding freshly made cotton candy, and for hot summer days, Hawaiian shave ice, which on special occasions will offer some adult flavors like margarita, daiquiri, and pina colada. You can find Kettle Corn Depot at the south end of C Street, across from the Sheriff's Office. Our long-standing customers have faithfully been returning to Kettle Corn Depot since 2012. Come get your groove on in Virginia City.
Ready for a live game of Clue? For nearly 30 years, Funtime Theaters held private and monthly dinner murder mysteries. Each night is different, and each event includes dinner and a show. You're the detective, and your job is to figure out who did what to who and why. At the end of the night, a super sleuth and not so super sleuth are awarded prizes. This is a great event for a birthday or holiday party and team building events for your office. Visit funtimetheater.com to make your reservations and use promo code RADIO for $5 off each admission.
This is Lacey J. Dalton, inviting you to join David John and Doc Klum of the Comstock Cowboys, along with me and Dale Panay, performing our original songs at Piper's Opera House in Virginia City, Friday, February 14th. This Valentine evening with Hearts and Roses, hosted by the 601 Vigilance Committee, features a romantic prime rib or chicken dinner and benefits both the Comstock Cemetery and Let 'em Run Foundation. Doors open at 5, dinner at 6:30, concert at 8. For tickets, go to eventbrite.com. Proceeds will be matched by the 601s.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station. The power of radio since 1967.
Folks, here we are down to the last segment of today's show. If you missed any part, like we've said before, you can check out americamatters.us and find those podcasts. We also appreciate all of you listening in today. Leave us a review. Let us know what you thought of today's show. We'd really appreciate that, and you can do that at Business Connections with Anita page on Facebook, or any of the podcasts also allow for reviews.
We love the reviews. We love the feedback. You know, we love to hear what you think about the types of guests that we're bringing in.
Yes.
And, you know, if they're helpful to what you do and the business connections that you make.
Yes, and you know, we're going to be digging in a little more about how businesses actually overcome some things, and get into a little more insight for those folks out there wanting to know a little more about businesses. Competition can make you or break you, Christian.
Yeah.
It's good to have a little competition, and here's some things to consider. Who is your biggest competitor? What is working for them? Are they at full capacity? So maybe you can get a little overflow if they got too much business. What isn't working? And how can you capitalize on a niche they do not offer? That's where I go first.
Mm-hmm.
I look at, well, okay, that they're doing all this, but what aren't they doing? And that's where I start my focus. So how can you attract customers?
Well, you know, it's one of those things that when it comes to competition, you know, again, you know, you can have a thriving business even if there's still plenty of competition out there. But just know that if the market crashes, if things go downward, that you're more than likely to lose more customers than you would if you have a specific niche business, or are doing something that nobody else is doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes back to what we were talking to before. Are you providing a luxury that people can be without, or are you providing a good or service that people need and they need to maintain? And so it's all things that you need to consider when starting your business, looking at competition and trying to attract those new customers.
Now, I'm taking over your spot here. You see all these advertisements on Instagram, Facebook, and others that are placed in specific audience preferences. Now, on those, Christian, we have the authority to pick our audience.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you already have been looking at your insights, and that gives you the option to dial in a great outcome for that.
Yeah, and one of the things, I mean, regardless if you're an online business or a brick and mortar business, it's important to know your customers. It's important to look at your Google Analytics, your Facebook Insights, knowing where people are coming from, how long they're spending on your website,
Mm-hmm.
and what the products are that they're looking at the most, because from there you can sort of tailor your advertising and your marketing to those sorts of people and then reach a broader spectrum.
Yeah, and speaking of outcome, that leads us to growth. What businesses don't want to grow. Now, I've heard people say, I don't want to grow my business. and I don't understand. I mean, I just really get combobulated in the mind when I hear people say that. But maybe they're only doing a certain hours, and this is how many clients they want to do that year, or whatever. But maybe you need to consider your business plan and what your growth goals are first before looking for a location.
Well, and part of it is that, there's some businesses that are too successful too fast, they grow too fast, and then all of a sudden they lose their entire business because they didn't account for that. So
they didn't have the capital behind them to keep that growth going. I've ran into that.
Yeah.
In a salon I had 3 girls when I started, and it grew to over 10 in a year, and I just wasn't ready for all the manicuring tables, all the stations I had to set up, all the extra business cards, all those things. So those are really important things to keep in mind that could happen to your business.
Yeah, just make sure you have the infrastructure to support the growth if you do plan on growing, or and one of the things that happens to a lot of people, if the growth potential is there but you're not quite there yet, that actually makes your business a little more of a commodity, more sought after. And so you grow at your pace, not what customers are demanding.
Now, another thing I've been seeing folks do, Christian, is they're combining businesses and sharing the rent. I know I have to speak from the experience that I know, but like all these salon suites we have out here, a lot of times girls, they're very expensive. Some of them are almost as much as a house payment.
Yeah.
Okay. And sometimes babies come up, people are buying cars, all that. You don't have that solid income every week. It fluctuates all the time, and sometimes you have a bad week and can't make that rent. So it helps to have a supplemental business in there that complements your business to kind of help you through those hard spots too.
Right. And like you said, adding the esthetician portion of your beauty business helps make up for things that maybe the other side couldn't. And so by improving your skills and doing more, or being in a location that offers something that people need, you can even sublet that out. You can bring somebody in who can potentially provide that for a share of the cut, cut of the share, whatever.
But I know for myself, being a woman, I want to go to a business if it's after dark that's well lit.
Yes.
Sometimes these places, the parking lots and stuff, you have to walk a little ways to get to the storefront in some cases, and having a well-lit area, or even a lot of times like here at Reno Town Mall, we have security.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel more comfortable knowing that they're here.
And don't be afraid to ask for help. If you want somebody to walk you out, 99% of the time they'll be more than happy to.
Yep. And make sure you listen to that gut.
Yes.
Listen to your gut instincts. If you don't feel safe, get someone to walk you out. It's always important. But the entrances and exits to a business can be just as important too. Where are they located? Are they on the worst street in the world, or the worst intersection? Is the entrance there? Or, is there another way in that you can take? I like multiple entrances and exits. And if there's stairs, are you going to be servicing disabled people? Is there a ramp for those people to get in? More as society changes, our food nutrition changes, a lot more disabilities are coming to light, that people need these special needs for visiting your business. So make sure you know what those are.
Yeah, plan ahead for it. It's easy enough to make small changes within a business. It's hard if you land on a location, you're stuck into a year, 2-year, 3-year lease, and then things start to change and you have no way of changing those because you're stuck.
Yeah. And, a lot of times, you have to think ahead a little bit. I've seen this happen several times in a shopping center. You think you have a prime location, Christian, and then your anchor store leaves.
Yeah.
And then that sits empty for quite some time. And knowing some of these things, like maybe the subletting and, kind of looking at the location. Has it been there for a while? Is it in a growing area? Is it stagnant? Are they changing the homes in the area that you're relying on for customer base? Are they changing those into apartment buildings? What's going on in the area? We have a lot of growth going on here in Reno.
Yeah.
You know, now Harrah's is being taken over. So, you know, we're losing our icons, but we're gaining some affordable housing, hopefully, for folks.
Exactly.
I'm really hoping that all these things come to play. I've seen some really interesting things going on in our area for housing, and I'm sure that's going to flow into business space as well.
Well, and part of it is, you know, you look at Midtown right now, and Midtown is thriving, and it's, you know, 90%, you know, personal-owned, family-run businesses as opposed to chains and big box stores and those sorts of things coming in. Whereas, you know, that's a prime location for it. You know, my hope has been for years that they revitalize the downtown area and do some things there. And so, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, you really, really want to pay attention to where you're looking at going into, not only based on how it's acting right now, but where it's headed to in the future.
Yeah, I thought I'd bring up something kind of quick. You know, when they built the Tesla and Google and Apple and all those things out there on USA Parkway, I bet a few people thought, you know, the subway out there was a little nuts. But as these places have grown, the land is being developed, those places are thriving, even though they're way out there.
Yeah.
Because they got all these employees that only have a certain amount of choices. Either it's Golden Gate or Subway. Maybe there might be a pizza place down there. I don't know. I haven't been out there lately. But there's food trucks arriving at the places and stuff. So, you know, location of a food truck can be important too, Christian. We've talked about food trucks on the show before.
And out in that area, that's great for lunch-type places. You know, I wouldn't necessarily put a fine dining place out there because after the regular business hours, it's dead. There's nothing going on there.
Right, but the smart city's coming, so then you might be able to get dinner after.
Exactly.
Well, folks, we are almost out of time today. Thanks so much for listening in with us today. We thank you for sharing us, and we look forward to your reviews. You are the best part of our week. Make sure to check out afdesigns.online/links if you want any more information about the guests we've had on our show. We look forward to seeing you hopefully on February 12th. Having had surgery, I guess, by the time my folks hear this broadcast, and I won't be able to talk too much, but I can text you. So make sure you converse with me. Everybody have a great hump day, and don't change that dial on America Matters. Up next is Truth to Power. And you can see, check out the merchandise store, Christian.
Yeah.
BusinessConnectionsWithAnita.com. Great to see Kelly in here this morning, and Eddie. Folks, you have a great week, and we'll see you soon.
As humans, we ask ourselves all kinds of questions. But what if we were forced to ask ourselves a question every day that affected the